Functions! In the last couple of days, probably half a dozen people have asked me about functions. So here is a video so I can explain it once and for all. I will be explaining functions using this very cool site called reju.codes, where you can instantly program in pretty much any language you want. I will be doing this demonstration using Python. Okay, so what is a function? A function in programming is a way of having a block of code that you give a name. You give a name to this block of code so you can call it again later. For example, I might have a function, I might define a function called say hello. Say hello. This is how we define a function in Python. We use the word def, D-E-F, for define, and then we write the name of the function, and then we have brackets, and then we have the colon at the end, the two dots. Underneath, we can write what is inside this function. For example, when I run this function called say hello, maybe I want to print hello there, and also print how are you. This is a very simple function. It has 2 lines of code inside it. How do I know that these 2 lines of code are inside the function and this one is not inside the function? Well, these 2 lines are indented. Backspace. Do you notice that I can press tab and that inserts 4 spaces here to show that these 2 lines are inside the function and this one is outside the function? Cool. So a function is a bunch of code, a block of code, where you give it a name. If I press run right now, I've defined a function called say hello that runs these 2 lines of code. What do you think will happen? Let's find out. Run. Nothing. Nothing at all happens. It didn't print anything. And I'll tell you why. I've defined the function. I've told the computer how to do this thing. I've explained to the computer, I've given the computer the recipe, I suppose, of how to say hello. But I've never actually run the function. I've never actually told the computer to do the thing. I've given the computer the recipe, I've defined the function, but now to call the function, I write the name of the function and then brackets. Now when I run it, this part here is defining the function. It's telling it how to do this thing called say hello. And this part says, okay, now that you know how to do it, computer, do it. And there we go. It does it. You can get it to do it more than once if you want. Maybe I might get it to do it 3 times. So this program will run, it'll define the function, which won't do anything yet. It's just telling the computer how to do it. Line 4 does nothing. Then line 5 will run, so it'll run the function, which is this line and then this line. And then it will run the function again, which is this line and then this line, and then once more. So what do you think this will print? It prints, hello there, how are you? Hello there, how are you? Hello there, how are you? So it runs the function 3 times. This is a pretty simple function, but you can imagine you can have lots of really complicated, useful functions. That's what coding is about. Someone else can write the function that handles all the insides, and you can just use it. Maybe you might have a function that sends an SMS message, or makes a phone call, or does text-to-speech and puts on a robotic voice. You don't care how that happens. All you care is that you can write the name of the function and bracket, and then it'll do its magic. To make functions even more useful, functions can take information in. For example, I might want to input the name. Now, this will throw an error because say hello is expecting one piece of information. It's expecting the name, but I never actually tell it the name. Look, if I run it, say hello is expecting an argument called name. This is an argument. An argument is information going into the function. So maybe I'll say hello to Ranieri, and say hello to Razza, and say hello to Mr. R. Spoiler alert, they're all me. Now when I run it, it runs 3 times. This function doesn't use that information yet, but you could change the function to use the name somehow. For example, I can use an f string here, and then I can use curly brackets to refer to this variable, which is called name. The function will run once as Ranieri, once as Raza, and once as Mr. R. Brilliant! But maybe your function does something even more complicated. Maybe your function needs to return information. An example of that might be maybe you have a mathematical function, like calculate a circle's area. If I want to calculate the area of a circle, I will need one piece of information about that circle. I'll need to know the radius of the circle. And maybe I will calculate the area of the circle. I'm going to save it as a variable called area. It will be pi times the radius squared. That happens to be the area of a circle. And as someone using this function, you don't care about the complex maths behind how this function works. You just want to be able to say, hey, calculate the circle area for a circle with radius 5. If I press run, will anything be printed on the screen? Nothing's printed on the screen. I don't have any print statements, but it does run this function. To prove that it runs this function, I'm going to put a print statement here. I am running the function, just to check that it's working. Maybe here, I am about to call the function. What do you think it will print on the screen now? First, lines 1 to 3 run. It defines the function. It doesn't run this code yet, but it tells the computer how to calculate the circle area. It defines the function. Then it will print, I'm about to call the function, so that's what's happening here. And then it actually calls the function. It tells the computer to do this thing with radius being 5. And that's why it prints, I am running the function. At the moment though, there's no way to access this answer. If I try to do print area, it won't work. Oh no, area is not defined. If you define a variable inside a function, it does not exist outside the function. What do you think this will do? Maybe I'll outside the function x is, and then I'll put x here. Maybe I'll even make this clearer by printing what x appears to be inside the function and what x appears to be outside the function. What do you think this will do? If I run it, I'm about to call the function, so it did this. And then I am running the function, that worked, so it's now here. And then it calculated the area, it set x to 5 inside the function. And then it printed inside the function, x is 5, because I just set it to 5. The variable x has the value 5. Now the function is done, so this line is done. It moves on to line 9. Outside the function, x is doesn't exist anymore. Variables that you define inside a function only exist inside the function. They are local to that function. So if you want to be able to access the area down here, then the way that you do it is you return the answer. So this function will calculate the area, store it temporarily in a variable called area, and then you can return area. I still don't have the area variable here. If I press play, area is not defined because this variable is temporary. The standard way, well, a good way that I would recommend if a function returns something is make a variable called answer and set that to be the return value. So this says, call the function and whatever answer it gives, store that in a variable called answer. Now you can do things like print the answer is answer. You can do things like print just the variable answer. You can even do things like if statements. If answer is more than 5, print that is a big circle. 5, 3, doesn't matter. So if I run this now, there we go. It calls the function runs, it calculates the area and saves it temporarily to a variable called area. Then it returns area, so this thing is 78.5. It'll save that in the variable called answer. So now answer is 78.5, and you can print it, you can do if statements for it. So I hope this has been helpful. To get rid of the cruft, by the way, all the stuff that we don't need, the bare bones of it is this. A function has a name. It can have arguments, which is information that goes into the function. The function can do stuff like calculations. The function can return an answer. To call a function, you do the name of the function and then brackets and then any information that goes in, an argument, which is the information that goes in. If the function does return something, then you'll want to save that answer by writing answer equals something or some other variable equals. So you can save that in a variable, and then later you can use that variable, for example, in an f string. I hope this has been helpful. Hit me up, let me know if you have any questions, and I will help you out. Bye everyone.